to Conversations with Shruti magazine. I am Sukanya Shankar, and joining me today are two superbly talented musicians, Shreya Devnath and Praveen Sparsh. Welcome, Shreya and Praveen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
So
very
Shreya
much.
is an accomplished violinist coming from the Lalgudi School of Music, and Praveen is a multi-talented percussionist. Apart from the mridangam, he plays several other percussion instruments. So Shruti had interviewed both these musicians a couple of days ago, and the detailed interview can be found on our website. Shreya and Praveen, you both have a strong foundation in Carnatic music. So growing up and learning from eminent gurus. So how have your individual musical backgrounds and experiences influenced your collaborative projects?
Both musically and non-musically, it is the growing up process that, in several ways, has shaped how we look at projects now. Because what we do now is to, of course, apply our skill sets in different ways. But the things that teach us how to approach something, how to learn something new, how to decode something that we're not familiar with, that a particular project might require. I think all of that comes from our very core formative learning years.
I think for me, learning this art form was so focused. So until I was 14 or 15, I didn't even know who A.R. Rahman was, just to give context. So the only form of music or the only form of entertainment was listening to Carnatic music. And then I started playing with my school band, and then I thought there are other cool things that you can do with music. And then eventually one leads to the other, and that's been my journey.
So, as you mentioned, the other cool things, like when you're exploring other genres, how do you balance maintaining the classicism and traditional aspects that Carnatic music has with these new genres you explore?
I think it's contextual. There are certain contexts where you're called as a Carnatic Mridangam artist to be a part of a larger production to represent Carnatic music. In which case you play the role properly. You go and represent. You don't change the way you represent the art form. There are also contexts where the form is so abstract that you're called as a percussionist, where you reimagine the role of even the mridangam, or what Carnatic music does for that thing. So, like, looking at it from where I am right now, I see two different things. And when you're being represented as a Carnatic musician, you have to be really showing the most, not diluted form of the art form. But the other place is where it's vulnerable and you open up and you figure out things.
Like he said, that's actually a very, very clear way to think about what the projects we do now, where sometimes you are representing the art form, or you are you kind of have to bring in that element into whatever setting it is that you're going to, and sometimes it's just you're called more on the basis of the instrument that you play. And then you might also, because the music that you invariably, I can only think in the language of Carnatic music, no matter what I'm actually doing, because the training is like that, the mind works like that. So my approach to perceiving any melody will automatically, I'll be hearing notes in my head real time as I'm hearing the melody outside. And then to decode that, because of our extreme, we have like this X-ray vision of how a melody moves. We have swaram and anuswaram, and how exactly one movement from where to where, what is the length of the curve, which note are you spending more time on, all within one single movement. And we are trained to approach melodies like this. So that decoding, that X-ray, all of that kicks in no matter what. So in some sense, I'm never actually, the Carnatic portion is never just closeted or boxed, and it's not something I draw upon when required. Sometimes it's apparent, sometimes it's not, but it's always there.
So in so many different projects both of you worked on, so is there any specific project or performance that is very meaningful to both of you, and why?
I think the first time I played with a bunch of Parayatam artists to figure out how to play the mridangam with, say, a folk instrument like the parai was meaningful musically. To even figure out musically what value addition can you do was a project that I can think of. Another project was with Sri T.M. Krishna and the Jogapas. So again, they're a transgender community from Karnataka, and the human interaction and the musical interaction was so different. And you're in a very vulnerable space. You're trying to understand how to collaborate with them. And I would say, again, it just pushed me as a musician, as a human. And yeah, so those are the kind of collaborations that come to my mind.
And Shreya, you?
I would say in recent times, the show that you came to, Vancouver. Any exploration for me where I get to place my instrument and the genre that I come from, as in a core sense. Whenever I get to do either or ideally both of these things on an even stage, on a blank canvas, those are the explorations that are most special to me. So for me, whether that is ACQ or Vancouver, we get to, it's a sound, and you get to interpret that however you want. You get to place it in the context that you can see. That's a very, very liberating, empowering space to be in, I feel. And so any project that lets me do that is very special to me.
As two individuals and as artists, how do you handle creative differences when you collaborate or play together?
I think the starting point, the credit has to be given to Shreya, because initially I thought it's just impossible for two musicians to be in the same house and to, create music and to like spearhead projects and stuff like that. And for the longest time, I was not even like trying to do that. But we tried working on a few things, and then we saw the positives, and then we actually even now feel that the positives, kind of are more than the negatives. So it's definitely work in progress, and definitely this, creative conflict, if you can call it. And both of us have very strong views. If we like something, we're going to push for it, and not just push for it, but actually go into reasoning and explain why we like it.
I think that kind of says it all. I mean, one thing is when we work, we are not married, or it is not relevant that we are in any way. When we are talking about a project and we have differences, like he said, neither of us pulls our punches. We're not trying to all the time agree, or we're never afraid to disagree. Like, oh, what will happen if something, if it's not working, it's not working, and if we don't agree, we don't agree. But the thing, like with any other two collaborators who might not agree, is that we will look at it, or at least we try to look at it from the point of view of the project that we're working on, the end output, and say, this is why I think this is not okay. This is why. And then ultimately, you just got to pick a way and move forward, because otherwise it's like you just stagnate. And that is true whether or not you're married.
So, when talking about new advancements and, in technology and all that, so now we have AI and we have so many different things, either creating havoc or creating for the betterment of the field, be it music, be it art, be it film music, even journalism, for example. So when it comes to technology, what role do you see technology playing in the future of Carnatic music, and especially your projects?
I think it's a tremendous tool. Yes, what you're saying, in one sense, playing havoc, or in fact replacing people, because I think there's a famous quote that goes, AI was meant to do all the boring things in life so that people can actually write and make music and stuff like that. And the irony is, people are still doing like accounting jobs and all, and then AI is creating music and
illustrations.
But yeah, I mean, there is that very definite risk. But I think like with any other tool, it's just about how you handle it. And it's undeniable that it's a phenomenal aid for us to express what is in our mind, to actually create something out of nothing. And for me, technology in music came a lot after Praveen. Working on projects with him, actually, to the extent that at the very beginning, like quite a few years ago now, when I looked at a Logic screen and I saw
Logic is the software that we use to record.
Correct. Now it's I'm so used to it that I'm just saying Logic screen. That itself is like a either of my graph. But the beginning, when I looked at a Logic screen, whatever number of years ago, and then I saw a note as a wave. And then you can like cut that wave, you can do something else to it, you can make it higher, lower, you can morph it, you can change the sound of it. it was so alien to me because it was like, this is very mechanical way of looking at music. It's like abstract, it's beautiful, it's it was very hard for me to reconcile the music that was in my head to like dots and waves and symbols and things that can be. So it was, I think it's a long way from there, and I right now I feel like it's
Now her
so,
best friend is the logic skill.
yeah, I spend hours and hours in the studio creating something, and I honestly feel it's so empowering and so freeing that what's in your head, as much as a pen helps you put down your words, this kind of music technology is helping me. What I can hear in my head, I can actually share with people around me, and it can be something from nothing, is a feeling that, so yeah.
Technology is definitely empowering if you use it the right way. And AI, I mean, like, the more we go, we're going to get more and more technology, and it will be empowering, but it will also have its drawbacks, and we need to know where to stop.
Yeah. So what are some of the future projects or goals you're excited about?
I just want to play my instrument. I just want to feel good doing that. I want to be able to apply myself very sincerely, regardless of genre, regardless of what the instrument is supposed to be doing, and just play happily, play in peace, work hard, and enjoy the process.
Yeah, I think in terms of future projects, a few years back, I was trying to understand when someone asked me if you're given a job, say visiting professor in some other country, would you take it up? And I said, no way. And I was just thinking why I said that. Is it like home and food and whatever there is? And I was trying to answer myself as to why I like Chennai so much. And I think the projects that we're doing right now, there's a huge responsibility to even like drive it forward, to really go to the grassroots level and celebrate this city is the motive. And be it Carnatic music, Ghana, Paraisai, and to meet different people, because the understanding of the city and the potential of the city, the canvas is so vast, and it's kind of unexplored in the global scenario.
What would be your advice to younger musicians who are trying to, become performing artists or follow your path of exploring other genres? What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, honestly, because
No
each
advice?
one,
I don't think so. I think, like you said, the role, say for example, the role of technology played a huge role in my life. And the way I use technology, I know what I'm doing with it. Maybe the generation before me did not use technology like this. So that advice wouldn't have, they couldn't have possibly advised me in that direction. And if I had just followed that, maybe I would have lost it. Or I don't know. So the next generation, like some of my students ask me the same question, and I don't know, they have to figure it out. To keep your eyes and ears open and to work hard is the only way. Like
That's good advice. That's good tip.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's a good tip. Anyway, so before we finish our interview, so we have the.
I actually have something to add to that.
Sure, please.
Sorry, later, children, but I was processing what you were
Sure.
asking.
Because you said no advice, I just kept it.
Yeah, actually that stays, but anyway. So yeah, definitely no advice, because the truth is what works for one, especially in a field like this. There is no, oh, this seems to work, this is a probable career path. Absolutely not. So definitely do not take advice just because it is given to you is one piece of advice, ironically. But I would think, at least thinking in my own case, because once you start exploring different things, it opens up the whole world to you, right? Then the range of opportunities, the range of avenues that you can explore, the range of possibilities, it becomes so wide that I would say one thing that really helps is to think, what is the body of work that you want to have done? Think some years down the line, what is it that you want your body of work to be? What do you want to have said? And then work backwards to see what you need to do to get there. Rather than, right now there is this performance, right now there is this stage, right now there is that band, and I need to get there.
Sure.
Because then that is like it's the difference between, you have that picture game thing with the numbers, and then you connect 1 to 2,
Sure.
2 to 3, and then ultimately you end up drawing something. It helps when there's a picture. Otherwise, the dots are just, I like this right now, then I like that there, then I like something else, then for a while I don't know what I like. Is another way to go. What helps me is try constantly answering the question, do I want this? Do I want to say this? Do I want to have done this? Yes or no? And then don't second guess yourself.
So before we close, we have some short, if I may call them, rapid fire questions. So we'll take both of you together. So one can answer after the other. So both of you are instrumentalists. So what is your favorite instrument other than your own?
Guitar now.
Do you play the guitar?
Yeah, I also self-taught guitarist. Yeah.
Okay. Shreya?
Harmonium.
No. Do you play that?
I don't,
Okay.
but I love the way it's played, and yeah.
And your favorite genre outside Carnatic music?
I'm incapable of naming anyone like that.
Jazz. All of this is like now.
Okay. And if you had to describe each other's music in one word?
Free flowing.
Passion.
Nice. A song or a piece of music you never get tired of playing?
Of playing. Genre?
No. Any.
Because in Carnatic there are a million like that, and
How
so
many ever
it's
times you play it, you never get tired of it.
Charuke Sivarnam.
So there's something called Farans in Mridangam where you play like fast things. And I used to play that alone, but now when I play it with my students and when I challenge them and we play it together, I think I really like playing it. So I want to do that with more and more students. Yeah.
Nice. The most cherished piece of advice from a mentor and from whom?
Lalgudi sir. And this is a not very rapid fire answer. It's so once the first time he got really, really mad at me, really angry, like to the point of scaring me, was when he heard a concert recording of mine, and then he stopped at one point in a Karal Priya Alapana and said, "Why did you play that?" And I didn't have an answer. I didn't even understand the question. I said, I thought of it, I played it. And then he got so mad and I didn't even understand why he was getting upset. And he said, if you don't really have to say that, then don't say it. There should be a reason that spontaneity or creativity is not just anything that comes to your mind. You just immediately, so unless you've really thought it through and you really have to, if you don't really have something to say, then don't say anything at all. So yeah, I'm holding on to that very tight.
Nice.
Right now I can remember my guru's words. So we were just playing and at one point he again stopped me and he said, "Do you understand what you're doing?" This was when I was playing for vocal music and I said, "I'm just playing for the talam or something." And he said, "Listen." So I think
Dore sir?
Dore sir, yes. So that word "listen" when you're playing is really strong. It's actually very powerful because as musicians we kind of give out something, but we forget to also consume what we're doing, what the other person is doing. So that listen is very strong for me.
Your most inspiring musician or composer for you?
Cannot name one.
If you were to name one in the world.
Actually, no, impossible to name. But anytime I see that passion, that anytime I see someone doing what right now, at least where I'm standing right now, when I see someone following their vision, that is hugely inspiring to me. And right now, that is what is most. When I look at that, I feel like, wow.
Right now, Richard Bona is like a bassist, and I've just like lots of days I've just heard his music and forgot the context.
And a song that always lifts your mood?
This is not the real song, but we all know when Vadivel sings Swing in the Rain, that inevitably makes me smile.
The recent song, earlier I would have said the soundtrack from Catch Me If You Can, which is my most favorite movie. Any day I would just watch it. But now we have been listening to this Yanakku Rajavana by...
Rakita.
it's called Rakita. I don't think I can sing it. I'll do a terrible job with that. but it basically says I am the king of my life.
From Jagame Tandiram.
And it goes about explaining, oh, this person will say that is what that person said, and that person will say that is what this person said. Where are these people? I am standing here. Which is really, I mean, it really lifts my mood.
Correct. எதுவுமே இல்லைனாலும் I'm the king of that.
King of that.
அப்படின்னா, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Never not makes us smile.